Hey, so it's been a while since I made a video, and it's been a lot happening since my last one. Um, I think I want to talk about the current sort of conservative war. I don't know what else to call it, but as you know, there's a couple people like Tucker Carlson, Megan Kelly, Candace Owens, um, and Alex Jones, I think, right? And probably a couple more. They seem to um, turn around against Trump, or rather, not really turn around against Trump, but really speak their mind more than anything. Um, I think that certain things that Trump did recently are very questionable. I think I got kind of um, stunned also with the certain things that he would say, and ever people that voted for him definitely liked when his campaign was about America first. Um, and I think that kind of took a major turn when the Iranian war started. Well, when United States and Israel attacked Iran, right? The whole operation, I think it's called Epic Fury, whatever it's called. And there were, you know, interesting things coming out of the whole situation, especially when I think his name was Joe Kent resigned, and he appeared on Sean Ryan's show, Tucker Carlson, a couple other people, and he clearly stated that he didn't understand why that decision was made, especially because Iran did not pose any threat to the United States. So this whole operation obviously is not benefiting us Americans. It benefits Israel. It's more of like they're up than anything. Um, so with that said, everyone is sort of annoyed. Why would Trump bend his knee for Bibi? Um, and there were a lot of different opinions, and people said different things. And if we really start connecting the dots, there's something weird going on. What I did not understand so much was when, um, a lot of people that supported Trump were also Catholics and Christians. And for him to post a nasty message about wiping out a civilization and throwing F bombs on Easter Sunday did not make sense to me. I don't know if it was actually Trump that did it, if it's someone doing it for him, or he's being pressured, or someone's pulling the trigger there, but it did not make sense to me at all that he would say it and basically um, made something such a mockery out of Christians, and it's just I don't understand. I really don't understand. And then one day he's back to business. The second day he does say something silly again. I don't know. Really, I don't understand it. Like, I guess everyone knew how he is and how he behaves, sort of. Although I voted for him, I would wished that he was able to control his emotions more, because everyone's reading all that stuff, and this doesn't benefit uh, Republicans at all. It benefits Democrats when everyone's laughing at this stuff. Um, but it's just like you don't know what to expect from the guy, and I don't know if that's a good thing. Um, I don't know really, like sometimes when you watched some of those live streamed, um, like last time they met with Trump met with major companies like major energy companies, Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, and some other ones, and they were really talking business there. I mean, it sounded like they're talking business. They're trying to take advantage of the whole Venezuela situation to get oil from there. Trump was kind of mocking Europe that they can buy oil from the United States now. Um, but I really don't understand all of this, especially, and I think we need to start looking um, when he there was attempt on um, assassinating Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, right when that guy shot and hit him in the ear. Um, thinking about this today, it's like you look at it, you got to think about it outside of the box a little bit. And at some point, I started feeling like maybe this was staged or something, and this was just my feeling, weird, strange feeling, like, that I had. And then second piece to that, I was also thinking like maybe someone's sending a message to him. Um, and then, you know, uh, the death of uh, Charlie Kirk, which became even more stranger, right? Because we know about the assassin that was shooting at Trump. All of a sudden, his Facebook stuff disappeared. It just feels like there's some CIA type of stuff involvement there. It's just weird and strange, and it's just a big black hole. And then the Charlie Kirk assassination, where um, they got a guy apparently that he shot him, but it doesn't seem like it. Everything that what's being said doesn't really make much sense. They're talking about that Charlie might have had some sort of a microphone receiver, um, and that exploded, and that's what really killed him more than anything, because it did not make sense of how they were presenting this, right? Literally, if they used the rifle that they said it was used, Charlie Kirk would have his head blown off more than anything. Um, but what is interesting is that when he was assassinated, a few weeks before, Charlie appeared on different um, channels, YouTuber channels, different media sources, and I remember him specifically talking about Israel. And I think, in one of those interviews, he mentioned something about going to Israel many, many times, and he thought of Israel as being more of a fortress, and he quickly touched on the entire October Hamas massacre, where he thought it was very strange how they were able to get in there. Again, the place is a fortress, so it's almost like they really wanted to happen. Maybe they knew about it and they allowed it to happen, so they have an excuse to go into Gaza and literally level it, right? Because that's what really happened. They leveled Gaza. And when he was voicing this, all of a sudden, Charlie Kirk gets eliminated. So um, Joe Kent specifically said that he knew Charlie Kirk was his friend, really. He wanted to little bit deeper into the whole um, assassination, and somehow he was stopped. He was being pushed away from this by FBI, I think, and it was just strange, right? It's just a really weird thing that it seems like this is not being moved a needle there, and it has to be investigated, because we don't know if there was foreign government involved or not, right? If it was, then oh gosh, you gotta look into this, right?
Surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government, and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes.
Wow.
6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by reports, 6 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours. And by the way, I'm actually very pro-Israel. So let me be so I'm not exactly.
Well, I think we all are.
No, I just want to make sure my position is clear here. But so Patrick, there are other explanations. It's possible that the Netanyahu government was double-crossed by bad agents. Okay? That's dark, but it's not as dark as what we're talking about. Okay? Another aspect is that Netanyahu might have traitors in his government, like legitimate traitors that have infiltrated. I was texting with some senior people in the IDF, and they said, Charlie, I can't say too much, but let's just say the same problem you have with the left in America, we have here in Israel. So there's something to think about. Just something to think about, right? Is that maybe there's some people within those intel agencies that aren't as sympathetic. Or maybe, Patrick, maybe they might have gotten a tip, they might have gotten whispers, but no one thought it would be 1,200 Jews dead. That's a potential, right? Because here's the essence of it. The essence is this. This is the closest thing to the Holocaust that any of us have lived through. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza.
Yep.
I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
So I just don't understand. I just feel like there's a lot of things happening behind the curtain that we don't know. And really, to know is to know nothing, right? Because you have to question everything. And we can sit here and be like, I voted for Trump. We can be Trump supporters, but you have to think outside of the box because, unfortunately, Trump's not holy, right? And maybe he's being manipulated. Maybe he's being threatened. I don't think Trump really cares about his life, but he will definitely care about his family's lives, right? And who knows? Maybe he's being threatened as the way he's behaving. Because look, this entire event with Israel and United States and Epic Fury and Iran, we're paying for this. It's coming out our own taxes. We know that Israel cannot make any type of offensive operations of that type of distance to reach Iran. It's impossible for them to do it. They can pretty much defend themselves, which we also have to pay for because those are our rockets. This is our equipment. But they don't have the firepower to go into Iran. So, logical thing would have been like, listen, and Joe Kent mentioned this, that Israel has a very good intelligence, and sometimes they would come in, they would visit the United States very, very often and kind of push us to make some sort of moves. And they sold something to Trump that he made a decision to do so, especially that he knew that it's going to cost us a lot, right? And I think he kind of got himself a little bit stuck in a limbo with the whole situation. It kind of backfired, right? More than anything. But what should have been done is, you say to Israel, listen, no, you're holding down. You're not, gonna move in within your operations, even if you want to do so, um, because this it's not gonna look good for me. And he's almost like committing his own political suicide because a lot of people moved away from Trump now. His everyone's questioning his actions, right? Where's this whole America only stuff? When you're bowing down and you're doing deeds for other governments. So who's controlling things here? It sounds like Baby does, right? So I don't know. And really, this all kind of it's a chain of cascading events more than anything. Everything's kind of connected together, starting with Epstein, right? Who was Epstein, and how you know everyone was talking about Epstein and Trump. How Trump, obviously said denied any connections. Well, not that he denied connections with him, but he denied having a good relationship with him. He said that he thought he was a creep, and he cut his ties with him pretty quickly. But you know, it's I don't know. It doesn't really make much sense because there's videos of him partying with Epstein, and he's just like whispering stuff to his ear. Epstein is laughing and smiling, and they're pointing to people. I don't know, some women dancing or something, or pointing somewhere, and they're having good time. Now, I'm not saying this means anything. People can have a good time. They can enjoy themselves. They can go to a party, but that did not definitely look like they were having a bad relationship, right? And this could mean a couple things, with this whole Epstein thing, especially where it was very strange when someone asked Trump about the Epstein and he got upset and he goes like, we need to move on from the whole Epstein thing. Well, you can't really do that because there are victims. There are people that suffer because of this. You gotta get to the bottom of it, right? And I think they are stuck in the limbo again because there's people there that are, if we find out they're really the truth, we will be very much surprised. Okay, and it could be, that Trump's involved there too. Although I don't think so, but he could be, right? You got to think outside of the box. It's possible. Because why would they hide it so much? Is it that maybe Israel is involved? Maybe Bibi's involved? Maybe he was there? Maybe it's just so dark that it would literally break our hearts when we do find out? What if, Bibi visited Epstein Island and he fooled around with, underage kids or something? And they have that sort of a dirt on him and they can't release it. They can't really release that, right? So there's definitely something there. I don't think we'll ever find out the truth. It will be another, JFK thing. Um, but yeah, I think that to say the least, there's strange things that are happening, right? And there's a lot of things that are there's a lot more unanswered things that are answered. And no surprise that people are questioning things. People are waking up, which is a good thing. My opinion on all of this is that it's very painful that we were all separated. We had this left and right ideology, and it benefit them because it's very interesting when we're talking about both sides of the aisle. Usually, they're able to get together and vote on things that are just not always good for us, right? When it comes to Israel and helping Israel, right away they're able to come to agreement and vote for make sure something that benefits Israel or something. Um, but there are two sides of the coin there, right? You had people in Gaza being slaughtered like animals, blown up. Same thing happened in Iran. They were blowing up schools or something. Um, and you know, it's not a good thing, okay? Because if it's bad when it happens to Israel, it's also bad when it happens to someone else. Doesn't matter what country it is. You have to own it, right? It's a bad thing. So you can't let them do whatever they want, right? And also, just think about this. You're telling Iran um, that they can't have a nuclear weapon, but you're telling me that Israel can have one, and they do have one. It's just they don't never say it really in the media that they do have it. I mean, they're as much crazier as these guys are, if you want to really compare, right? Although Iran doesn't haven't really done, um, some crazy. strikes other than Israel. I mean, that war that's kind of like, war that's been going on for many, many, many years. But Israel has a nuclear weapon, and look what they did to Gaza. Look what they did, everywhere else, live in Libya or whatever. They're leveling buildings, man. So you cannot it's you cannot say it's justified for them because it's them only. Like, it's, what is it, like, they're not any more special than anyone else, right? So yeah, I feel like I just, vetted myself a little bit, vented myself a little bit, got the things off my chest. And um, yeah, I wonder what do you guys think about this whole situation, right? I would like to know if people are thinking moving away from Trump, what your thoughts are about what's going on. What do you think about Trump? What do you think about Israel? And look, I'm sure there's going to be people out there going to say, "Oh, you're anti-Semitic because I'm talking about something about Israel," which I have a right to have an opinion. Because you have an opinion doesn't mean you're anti-Semitic. I'm not targeting Jews or Jewish people. I know there's some great Jewish people out there living in Israel, right? That have also their own opinion. They don't even want this conflict. They don't even think it's right. Also, I'm talking about the governing body. I'm talking about people that are in government. Those the ones that are controlling things, manipulating things. That's what I'm talking about. And like, obviously, baby, right, in his cabinet. Um, so yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you can um, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. It would definitely help me out. I'm trying to build a channel, and hopefully, one day make this a full time thing. So thank you very much, and you have a blessed day. Thank you.